You know that I am a fan of anime. So it is kind of a little bit of my nature that I am also attracted to giant robots in one way or another. It's not kind of like my favorite genre, but I do have a soft spot for them. I grew up with giant robots when I was a kid, like obviously Transformers, but also Messenger and another kind. So giant robots is kind of like a sweet spot out of me. Yeah, and well, I'm kind of glad that Guillermo del Toro thought about that too when he created his giant robot franchise of Pacific Rim. Even I like the concept, the concept of giant robots battling monsters. It's something that you mostly see on anime, but rarely seen on a big screen adaptation. Unless you are one of those Japanese guys who gets that idea and want to make an anime adaptation of something, but not something kind of like original movie out of it, unless you go into those B movies that I still have to see lots of them. But I gotta admit that Pacific Rim, I am one of those guys who I'm in the middle of the road. While I like the premise, I like the world that they build and the action scenes and the design of the robots, they're awesome. I was very skeptical with the story because the story, I thought that the characters were kind of shallow, except for what was it, the commander that later in the movie he sacrificed himself. I thought that he was kind of like the best part, and I kind of didn't like too much how some of the characters were developed. They were pretty minimal, or kind of you don't feel as good as the others. Maybe it's because I have this nitpick on how the robots, in this case called Jaegers, how they work. Because I am a little bit... I have a little bit of a nitpick, considering that in order to handle those robots, you need two people to control it at the same time so they can synchronize. Because I like that they at least gave it an excuse that it is too big for one person to handle, because it is controlled with mind power and mind synchronization or something like that, and they wanted to emulate the two hemispheres of the brain. I mean, the biggest thing that I get is that having this concept kind of makes this the thematic of teamwork, friendship, family, and all that stuff seem a little bit forced into it. But you know what, Pacific Rim, I like the movie. I'm not a big fan out of it. But so I thought that it was a very good popcorn flick to enjoy. And now we got the movie that I just saw yesterday, which is Pacific Rim Uprising. And this one, we didn't have Guillermo del Toro directing. We got another guy directing the movie. What was it? Steven as the Knight. I know that this is his first time making movies on the big screen. He was mostly a TV director, but hey, you have to go from somewhere. So he decided to direct that sequel, Pacific Rim. How many years was it? I think it was 4 years ago that the first one got. And I was kind of surprised that the reviews are really mixed, but much more on the downside rather than the upside compared to the other one. Apparently, many of the fans, they had really high expectations on Pacific Rim. And in a way, this kind of came into benefit of me, because I didn't have too much high expectations of Pacific Rim, even in the first movie, because I thought that in the first movie, it I will have fun, but there's gonna be something that I could nitpick out of it, to the point that I'm not gonna come off as a perfect movie. So technically, I think that what I'm seeing right now on Pacific Rim Uprising is a little. I think that is probably a little bit of a product of hype. People had high expectations on that movie, to the point that every time they think that there is something inferior to the other one, they're gonna find it as a crutch. And apparently, I heard that I think I heard that that the movie was supposed to be a standalone, but apparently it was successful on China for the most part. So if a country demands it, they have to go with a sequel, which I didn't mind. I'm open arms with more of those giant robots. But the point that I'm getting at is that unlike many people around the internet here and there who are bashing this film, sometimes for the right reasons and for the wrong reasons, I have to be honest, and I'm gonna honestly say that I enjoyed this movie better than the last film, even though there are still problems here. But I am a little bit more forgiving, knowing that it makes some slight improvements in the character development, but it also sacrifices other elements that then it comes off as a movie that, while passionate, it didn't hold down a candle of expectation of being a very, very competent film. I can still treat it like a B movie with its faults and everything. But that's just me. It's just me. Now let's get specific with what went right and what went wrong with this movie. So the movie stars John Boyega, and he plays the son of the what was it, the name of the guy who sacrificed himself? I got it here because I kind of forget. Get the character. You know what? Whatever. John Boyega plays the son of the hero from the last movie, the one who sacrificed himself by closing the gate between between Earth and the Kaijus. And well, the son, he kind of turned into a smuggler. He cons people by getting stuff and also taking the part of junk Jaeger parts around it, because I like the setting that, while some country they're repaired by the damage of the kaiju, some others are left behind, and he is one of them. Well, what happened is that one day during his smugglings, he managed to track down, I think it is a teenager girl. Yes, probably it's in her teenager age, in which she is also smuggling some Jaeger parts in order for her to build herself her own Jaeger. And because it is a smaller size compared to the giant building size ones, this one can be handled at least with one person. But after they are captured by the Jaeger force, they are apparently they find out that the girl has potential, so they recruit her to become a ranger, one of the trainees of to be a Jaeger pilot. And the guy, because he has connected with his father, and because he wants nothing to do, they make him a deal that instead of putting him in jail for the smuggling, they want him to coach the new generation of pilots, and of course he meets with a few of the cast of the last movie. Most notably the other guy. What was the name of the guy Scott Eastwood. Scott Eastwood, the son of Clint Eastwood. And then he also, how can I say, we also have the Japanese woman, I think it was Chinese woman, for I don't remember her nationality. The one, but it is the Asian one from the last movie that the main guy, the hero. I forgot the names. You know what? I'm gonna be honest. I kind of forgot Pacific Rim, the first one. It's been years, and I didn't give myself the chance to rewatch it. So if I'm blank on some of the aspects of the movie, I forgive. I'm sorry. I apologize. But as you can tell, the thing is that, yeah, it has this B-movie plot about these guys, and Jumbo Yeager and Scott Eastwood. They kind of don't get along because they're kind of like friendly rivals, and apparently Jumbo Yeager went smuggling because apparently he kind of failed the expectation of his father, and he just kind of became a little bit washed out, and now he just has a chance to that he can be a good Jaeger pilot like his father, even though he has to meet the expectation of a dead person now. And of course, the girl is now with a team of other younger generation people, and well, she doesn't get along with the Russian one who acts like a total bitch, even though she. I gotta admit that she does have a point that. How come she gets the benefit of being a ranger when the Russian one had to work hard to get it? So I kind of like that tension over an overachiever versus someone who worked hard. But then comes up with the biggest problem with the movie that clashed between them, and that is that the movie has too much plot. And sometimes some things, they're not resolved. And what I told you is not even the basis of the story, because then we got the story about the Chinese who wants to create drone Jaegers, in which is kind of convoluted and doesn't make sense if this is a good idea or not. They want to try to play out that, yeah, drone warfare is bad or something like that, but or it doesn't come to us with that debate or something like that. And then finally, I think 25 minutes after the movie, we have what was it? We got the plot in which a rogue Jaeger begins to attack the city and all this stuff, and apparently this rogue Jaeger is apparently in alignment with the kaiju. Unfortunately, that kaiju plot doesn't get involved actually almost halfway through the movie. Which, you know what, in a way this movie could have benefited a little bit more of kaiju in the beginning, and less just instead of just exposition here and there. But that's not all. We also have the comic relief of the two scientists from the last movie. The guy, the crippled guy who is kind of like this. I don't remember the actor's name. And also we got Charlie Day as the other character named Newt, who apparently, guess what? I'm gonna go to spoiler alert, but just in case. Charlie Day, he becomes the villain. Because not only he was working with the Chinese in order to create the drone Jaegers, when he was apparently reading the mind of the Jaeger brain, the kaiju brain from the last movie, all the evil tendencies of the kaiju kind of begins to infect his brain, so much that he just have mind sex with the kaiju brain in his house. You know what? I'll get to Charlie Day also in a moment. But the thing is that he becomes the villain of the series. And you know what? All these things what I'm talking about are most of the stuff that they talk that is in the movie. And like I said, I kind of agree with the other reviewers saying that the movie has too much plot in so little time, and some of the plot points, they kind of don't mesh together very well, to the point that some of the aspects are sometimes forgotten. I think I repeat that. You know what? I don't remember if I repeated that. Remember that I talked about the rivalry between the girl and that Russian girl? Doesn't go anywhere. No lessons learned. It just kind of go there. And again, it forces itself when they begin to have the speech saying that we don't care your background. You guys are family here and there. Families here and there and all that stuff. And while I can accept this kind of like an anime or something like that, this is what the point that I was saying, that when you have this plot point of finding co-pilots that have to pilot a Jaeger, it feels forced when they want to say that you have to learn teamwork here and there. I mean, if one person can pilot Messenger, why not these? And come to think of it, I think I know the solution how to make one person pilot a Jaeger without having two people. Scraps the mind sync. I know that it's more versatile, but it is very risky, I'm gonna say. I mean, Kabuto Koji still can manage a Messenger, and how many people can manage Gundam? Oh, and speaking of Gundam, there is a cameo of the statue of a Gundam during the climax of the movie. I don't know if that's cute or they just wanted to make some kind of nerdgasm for the nerds. But anyway, yeah, it is revealed. If I go again to spoiler territory, it is revealed that the Rogue Jaeger is actually controlled by apparently the sentient skins of the leftover kaiju skins. That they begin to control this, and Charlie Day, mind controlled by the kaijus. He just spread it on the Chinese drones. I also have to mention that there is this. Apparently, they wanted to pander on the Chinese audience by having people talk in Mandarin here and there and telling some of the wonders of China. But it still kind of sucks that the movie still has this thing that also kind of makes me nag on the other one. One of the aspects that I didn't like on the original Pacific Rim is that it has this, as the typical American movie spirit of saying that America, fuck yeah, spirit. I find this. I know that it is an American movie, and when you make a movie in your country, there is a little bit of patriotism in it. I don't blame it, but sometimes it gets annoying and kind of disrespectful when you think that the country has this elitism spirit and thinking that they are the good guys or something like that. Ironically, I wish that they could have been evil Jaegers with evil people. Scrap out the kaijus, and kaijus could be like, for example, a secondary, and they realize that there are some evil persons who they just want to, how can I say, exploit or take advantage of the kaijus, let's say. I mean, they were kind of close when they kind of discovered that kaiju blood can be used to amplify rocket thrusters. And yeah, that's a kind of plot point that is served in the climax of the film. As for the acting, I'll say it is decent enough. It's decent enough. Sometimes they comes off as very cheesy with some of the lines. I mean, let's take, for example, we could say that the actor who carries this movie is John Boyega. He is very charismatic, and I think he does a much better job than what he did in The Last Jedi. And the girl genius, I'll call her, she does well for her age. In a while, I thought I was gonna be annoyed because she was talking like a total fanfare girl who she spouts out opinion when nobody asks. But gladly, she was toned down and comes off as a tolerable character that I can say. Scott Eastwood, he tries his best, but he doesn't come off a little bit of wooden sometimes. But I know that he does his best. The other actors are doing well. Even the actress who was supposed to be his girlfriend, but she wasn't developed enough for kind of care a lot. But I think that the biggest MVP or the biggest criminal of this movie is Charlie Day. Oh, jeez. Let me tell you, I know that many people were annoyed by the scientists, both the guy and Charlie Day in the last movie. Personally, I didn't mind them. I thought they were okay. I did like the guy who he talked like this because, I mean, we're talking about something that is kind of like a love letter to the anime, and many of those anime scientists are exaggerated. They are over the top. And this guy is one of them. And Charlie Day it kind of comes off like how can I say, some kind of a slimy businessman with a knowledge of science. And in this one, somehow they amplify him. He kind of acts like his sugar rush got up. Because man, that he just like he just goes over the top. He looks like he's having so much fun and acting crazy. How can I describe it? The best way I can describe it is that during the whole movie where he appears and he just begins to act crazy, I thought that one day he's gonna pop out and scream, "Spaceship! Spaceship! Spaceship!" Like his role in the Lego movie. I kind of take it as you will. If you hate it, fine. If you like it, fine. So this kind of acting came off as a double-edged sword. And by the way, also what else can we got? The climax. The climax, despite kind of ignoring some of the important elements, I was entertained. I kind of just threw my mind out of the window and say, you know what? I couldn't do that on the last movie. I'll just enjoy it as a B movie, and if you do that, it works. Sometimes people get tired because it takes a while to get there. I'm used to it. I'm used to long movies, but because at least this one kept me paying attention instead of driving me out of the window like some other movies that I saw. And yeah, they gave us this cliffhanger in which they capture Charlie Day, and the guy says, "Hey, you know what? Now we're going to them." That kind of makes me think that why don't we make a movie about kaijus and make the Jaegers the villains this time? You know what? I think that's a great idea. Someone listen to me. Make a movie in which the kaijus are the ones who are the heroes. Well, not technically the hero. Let's say anti-heroes. And make them like the villain. Probably it could be a better version of that animated movie that I thought it has less potential. What was it called? Battle for Terra, it was called. And as for but as for that, I'm gonna say that I still have a little bit of my increased lust battling giant robots. Why? Because I gotta admit, I am trying to make sketches for my next painting on my canvas, and it's a giant robot. I'll give you a little bit of a sneak peek. See, this is some of the stuff that I've been trying to study while investigating giant robots. It's gonna be my first, and truth to be told, it's gonna be my first time drawing robots. I had a hard time drawing metal things, and admittedly, I am not good on making shapes. I tend to be on the hurry most of the time. But you know what? That's still a challenge. Even though it's not the Pacific Rim the one that inspired me to paint a robot. The one who actually inspired me to paint a robot was the last Messenger movie that I just saw. Messenger in, what was it? Infinity, I think it was called. Doesn't matter. But anyway, if you want to have fun in Pacific Rim Uprising, check it out. I don't recommend it if you want to have a fun time. Kind of like a B-movie waste of time. If you don't like it, I understand you. Probably I'm not the kind of guy who went overhyped by Pacific Rim. I thought it was an okay movie, and because of that, I think that because my expectations were a little bit lower compared to the other one, I think this is why my experience was a little bit better than most people.